Hey, welcome back to another episode of the EpicMetaPodcast. George, how's it going?
It's going well.
Awesome.
Glad the holidays are over.
Oh, you are? I'm still hungry from our holidays, so I'm definitely procrastinating and finding it very hard to get back into the flow of work, including, yeah, all kind of work. So, but definitely enjoy my time off. So it looks like you were too free of your time. You need activities. Does that sound about right?
I like the structure, but I find the holidays, there's so much expectation and so much preparation and, uh, and
Yeah.
it always sort of leaves me feeling like I've been chewed up and spat at.
Yeah, I get you. I get you. Luckily, I don't have to plan anything. I have um, siblings here who do most of that, so I can just essentially visit a household or one of the sister family and then just participate. I don't have to do all the cooking or do any of that all that stuff. So very easy for me. But
That makes a big difference.
yeah, it does. I'm sure. So on this episode, we are covering The Expanse. It's season 2, episodes 1 to 4. So quickly bring everyone up to speed. We are introduced to one of the Martian hero or main character, Bobby Drake. She's a Marine on Mars, and we see they do incredible training with some awesome mech suit or armor suits that are pretty badass. They have incredible technology, and they are training, also instigating, and they're ready really to go to war with Earth from their training perspective. Outside of that, on a bigger, I guess, solar system scope, there are some incidents that happen where war is basically becoming imminent at this point. Um, Earth is decided to shoot a moon inside the Mars system that is abandoned. It was very small, but it was from another incident, and that I somehow forget. But we see that the Belters, because they are so disparate and have different tribes and leadership, actually attempted an assassination of Avasarala, and it almost worked, but it definitely put a heightened sense of danger on everybody. Uh, Due to her, I guess, lack of a better word, sense of judgment, she actually didn't blame anybody. She actually go on the investigative end and tried to figure out who's actually in charge and what their motivations are. We learn about it from a viewer perspective that later on, one of the Belter kind of confessed to. Now I forget. I'm blanking on the Belter leader. He was
Fred Johnson.
correct. Fred Johnson learn about this while recruiting for a mission. So we now, coming off of Arrows, know the disaster that it has created. They know that still there are Eros is still a danger and are formulating plans to essentially destroy it. There's still research material, the power molecule, and other things are going on where the OPA formulate or create a small team. They went on to, I'm not sure it was a different station or Eros itself, but they found the actually lead research scientist that was messing around with the molecule. Um,
Yeah, that was on a different station.
yeah,
That was not Eros.
yeah. So they breach it, they captured the guy, and Miller, without any time to think it over, which is what Holden usually likes to do, there's no sense of judgment. He just immediately shot the guy in the head, and which to me was a surprise, but uh, leads us to the situation now at the end of episode 4, where they are using the Nauvoo, which is a generation spaceship for the Mormons, as a battering ram to knock arrows into the sun. So that was the plan. They literally just take it, and it was still in the process of being built. There were some component was not done, but the main function as far as flying an engine is ready, and that's what they did. Coming to the end of the episode, we realized they missed. Arrow somehow became alive or conscious, or apparently it's a rock, but it can also fly in its own direction. So that's the hook that we end on, and I couldn't. Season 2, because you haven't seen the other season, by far is my favorite season. I don't know if season 3 or 4 other people or listeners' favorite season as well, but season 2 to me is the most action heavy, and a lot of plots are happening. Things are happening very fast, and I like that. So season 1 is kind of build up. There's a lot of character and world building, and then season 2, this is where everything goes down. We see Earth, Mars, Belt. Everything is in conflict. So, anything I missed there that you thought that I should point out in my little quick recap?
No, I mean, I'm sure we'll fill in the gaps as we go.
So one of the questions I had for you pre-show was to, now that you see season 1, which is building out the universe of this, this world, there's definitely Mars, Earth, and Belt. As you move forward, you kind of felt, especially with this last 4 episodes, there's real sense of each of the different places has its own culture and I guess motivations and what they want to do. Characters that embody those culture or those ideas. Where do you, if you were in this universe, like my question for you is like, where would you live and what would you do? Obviously, this is the future, so you can do anything. Like assume you can do anything. Would you still? What would you do?
I think. Well, my sense is that I would be on Earth, and not necessarily because that's where I want to be, but that I think I would find myself there, and because I see the people on Earth, they're sort of they're captive to history, basically.
Right.
They don't have a lot of options. In other words, like if you're on Mars, Mars is a young culture, and they're forging their destiny, and the Belt is, I guess, an even younger culture, but it's way more chaotic. So, I mean, with chaos comes opportunity to change your destiny. Earth, it feels like their destiny is fixed, and that they're trying to maintain control of the system, but the system is slowly slipping from their grasp. So like they want to go in a direction, maintain control of the system, but the forces of history are just too strong and too set in place that they really can't do that despite their best efforts.
Yeah. So this sounds like a realistic answer. What would you? I mean, like, would you choose to be on Earth as a part of this universe? Like, what would you be doing?
I guess the best place to be would be on Mars because there's structure, there's a government, but there's also lots of opportunity, and the future's wide open.
Yeah.
The Belt is too chaotic.
Right.
It's too chaotic to forge a destiny in. Mars seems to have the right balance of chaos and order.
And would you? My question would be, if you were in this, I guess, show, would you be a character off the screen, just rummaging around doing your thing, or what would you do, like, some kind of scientist, or what would you want to do in this universe?
I think I would be involved with the terraforming of Mars. That seems to pique my interest the most.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I would definitely be some kind of smuggler. So we see a lot of resources out in the belts. And honestly, because this is near future, this is almost somewhat in reach because now we have a lot of space industries coming up. Definitely space mining is a thing. With the infinite resources that are out there, it's going to be kind of a rush similar to the oil rush. So I would love to be some kind of smuggler and almost interplanetary. I would love to be a character where I was born on a planet with G forces, so I'm not essentially physically weaker because the Belters, as you know, they have long. It's not shown very well. I think in season one there was a small scene where they capture a Belter in one of the early episodes and was basically interrogating him, and all they had to do is basically kind of make him stand because he was on Earth. He couldn't handle the gravity, and that's all they had to do. They didn't actually torture or do anything with him. But throughout the rest of the show, I think the graphics takes too much. It was too much resources, so they didn't show that a lot. But that is definitely like something to keep coming up in the plots and topics. I would love to be born on one of the planet, either Earth or Mars, and then become kind of like Fred Johnson's character, or there was another guy too. He was kind of like stirring up the Belters a lot, and just kind of make whatever I want to do and do it. Uh,
Was he the one who got jettisoned out into space? The one you're thinking of?
no, he's still around. He's not dead yet. I would say, is a basically vice president of the Belters. He kind of instigate a lot, and then just go and do his own plan. I forgot his name now, but he's a more famous actor. He's been in a lot of other shows as well. God, I hate it. I hate this because I always blank on stuff. But I would,
I'm not sure. I'm not clear on who you're referring to.
yeah, I would love to be not necessarily a pirate, but definitely an opportunist. Like if there is some essentially free loot floating out there, like let's say there's a small space battle and then just stuff flying out there, I would definitely capture that stuff and sell it and smuggle stuff to Earth that are prohibited, for example, or smuggle stuff to Mars, or just do whatever you can to make quick bucks. And I think that would be my role in this universe because it's quick money. And I think everybody operates on credits, which is kind of universal to other science fiction stories as well. And I kind of make that very easy. You just transfer credits and credits just fly around. That would be my thing. Not the ultimate bad guy, but definitely opportunistic crime lord of some kind. So. Do you see that remotely realistic to what I want?
Do I see what as remotely realistic to what you
the job I want to do in this universe?
Sure. I mean, look, it's a fictional universe. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So it's interesting what you described because, and I think it goes along with elements of your personality that you've displayed in previous episodes.
Absolutely.
Your motivations are very like in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Moment to moment.
There's no long term.
There's no long game. There's certainly no like spiritual or moralistic framework.
Yeah. Would you be part of terraforming Mars as like a researcher for long term, building out like a generation where I think it hints a little bit. So I don't know if you caught it, but when the Mars soldiers were talking to each other, it seems like they have a promise for future generation of land inheritance. And one of the soldier has basically a wealthier family where when this project is done, he will inherit essentially a larger portion of terraformed land. I don't know if you caught that or not, but
no.
Yeah, I don't know if that's because I haven't read the books for a long time. I only read 2 or 3 of the books, but I up on rewatching kind of hear or saw that, and I think for you as a researcher, long-term planning, giving something to the next generation will probably be in your character, so that you can.
Yeah, I mean, I also like the idea of large, long-term projects. So the idea of terraforming terraforming Mars, it'll take generations to complete.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I see kind of a parallel in medieval Europe. They built these cathedrals that took generations to build and complete. And so the idea that a person can work on something that they, won't see the benefits of in their lifetime,
Mm-hmm.
but in a sense, the benefit they derive is that they're contributing to something larger than themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very attractive too. But I don't see myself working on Mars for that long. I would probably leave and explore some of the other moons or doing something. But yes, very short term, very short term stuff. I think the belt I would fit in, but like you said, it's too chaotic. And as a small crime lord, I probably wouldn't have the power to overtake bigger crime lords. So mostly, I'll probably a small smuggler operation of some kind. And that would be my thing. Awesome. So, yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
Jim Miller shot that lead scientist in the head.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little confused by that.
Mm-hmm.
Why did he? I mean, because they could use that lead scientist to combat the proto molecule,
Right.
or figure it out. So why? What do you think his motivation was in shooting that scientist?
I think he answered it in the episode 4, right when he met Fred Johnson. Fred Johnson gave him back his own gun, and he was explaining, I didn't shoot that guy because he didn't make any sense or he was crazy. He was beginning to make sense, and that's why I think his reason to shoot him is because that guy would have done that work with anybody. So he doesn't care. Like he said it right before he got shot, that I don't care who owns the project as long as I get to do the work. And I immediately thinking of, weapon generations, money, profit making. I think Jim Miller saw that as well. Anybody who works with a guy will eventually fall into that trap and not care about the rest of humanity.
Because the scientist was actually he wanted to keep the proto molecule around, so he could.
Yep.
So he was actually motivated to preserve it, and he was making a compelling argument, and that's
right.
Jim Miller didn't want a compelling argument to preserve it.
So because he saw the cost, like him and Holden saw the cost of this research on arrows. Like no one saw it firsthand and still live. Everybody else hear about it in reports and videos, and to him. It was, this is the line you need to, the line that he won't cross. So he just, to save the time and expense of energy on debating this whole thing, he just shot him, which I found. So the first viewing, I didn't expect that. I was like, whoa, definitely need to know more about this molecule, right? It's definitely completely mysterious. No one knows how it all works. And this guy was a lead researcher. It was kind of a waste of resources to shoot him. Maybe don't sign up with him, but not necessarily shoot him right away. So yeah, I felt the same way, but it makes a lot of sense because Miller, no, that was too much for him. So he's just off, the researcher.
And it seems like the proto-molecule, when it infects a person and kills them, it sort of downloads their consciousness into itself.
Right.
Because they hear the voices talking.
Right.
I guess on a radio band or something.
Yeah, it's not simple as if it was a virus. So first season we thought it was some kind of biology, like virus or biological, chemical kind of thing. But it seems like it's not only infect somebody, but absorb them into its own, I guess, genetic coding of some kind. So reserve or save their memories in some way. And yeah, we hear that sounds as they remix it into music on the belts, and one of the younger character was listening to it, which is fascinating that arrows would.
That's a question I have. That curly-haired belter who was listening to the music and was also a part of the landing team. Was he the young Russian that his uncle got He jettisoned his uncle
Yeah.
jettisoned him out into space, and then his uncle flew his ship into the Martian Marines.
I want to say yes, but I couldn't place him as far as like, recognize his face with that same character. But I want to say yes. He's definitely the one in season one where Miller was investigating who was capturing water and selling it illegally on, oh God, what moon was he on? On Ceres, I think. Yeah, on Ceres where he was still a private cop. That character is the same character as that. But the one where the uncle kicked out just to save his life because he was protesting or disagree with the fines. I'm not sure if that's the same one. I'm inclined to say yes. So he, his yeah, he's very much a belter. Believes in everything that they do, kind of thing. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, coming to it, I tried to. This season, like I said, is one of my favorite seasons. When I start watching it, just I would just watch all of it. So I couldn't find a spot to, and I guess as far as the rest of it, when you consume it, you might be able to find a better complete arc. But there's no complete arc. It's just one season in and of itself. So I was curious if you felt as if we ended this on a good place so you can encapsulate or provide some thoughts on the episodes.
I'm not sure what you're asking there, but yeah, I mean, the story is progressing. So the first season was very much about building out the universe, as you said, and now there's an actual kind of struggle at work.
Yeah.
Where so Jim Holden and his crew are motivated to destroy the proto-molecule. We know the people on Earth don't really know much about it.
Mm-hmm.
They're more motivated on maintaining their control of the system. And as I mentioned before, it seems like the arc of history is moving against them. The people on Mars are motivated to protect their own interests and to terraform the planet. And they're more involved in the proto-molecule, I guess. They know a little bit more about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the belts just is chaotic and is, it seems like a movement is forming, but it's not quite there yet. So,
what did you think of the internal politics on Earth? Did you find it interesting? Because yeah, I definitely have a response to it, but I was curious how you take it as far as when there was a general that was basically honorable and kind of trying to stand down from imminent war. He eventually resigned or got fired, and we saw a conversation between him and Asa Varala where she kind of just digs for information and figure out how to like essentially I call it the red phone where supposedly in some of Fears or a different movie there's this thing where there's a backdoor channel between different governments like USA and Russia that they can communicate with each other in case there's imminent threat of all out war. And so she was doing that, and I thought that was pretty smart. But I'm curious.
She communicated with Fred Johnson.
Right. I'm curious how you take all that interplay, because one of the character, I think it was Aaron Wright. I just find him boring, and it just like.
Which one is Aaron Wright?
Aaron Wright is the undersecretary or vice president in this universe. I don't know. He's the other guy, just not the president. They don't call him president, but. He was like scheming and stuff, and basically gotten busted by Asa Varala. I mean, she pretty much brought Jules Piermont into meeting them. He denied everything, of course, but she could kind of figure them out already. And I thought, I don't know, a lot of that, it seems like it's not interesting to me. So I was curious if it was interesting to you.
I'm not clear on what they're exactly trying to do. Like she contacted Fred Johnson on that secure channel, and I'm not sure what she's trying to accomplish by that. Are you?
I have to rewatch it, but she was trying to tell him that she knows that it's not Mars or the belt that is responsible. And she was,
Responsible for what?
I think, the attacks on certain ships, and also there was a research station that she was trying to have him expose, because if the belt can do it, then Earth and Mars conflict would decrease. I have to rewatch it because now I forget, but I think yeah.
So Julie Mao, the belt, she's the daughter of an Asian guy on Earth,
Right.
who's I guess funding the scientists who are studying the protomolecule.
Right. JP Mao is definitely owning all of that. Yeah.
So, and he was in cahoots with Aaron Wright, the undersecretary. Aaron Wright was providing him with political cover.
Correct.
But JP Mao cut him loose because I guess he wasn't doing a good enough job.
Right. They basically froze all his assets. Like you have to kind of pay attention to it because it happened really quick. But essentially, all the stealth ships, and then I think there was a research station that they were trying to expose because all the stealth ships were protecting something, and Mars was trying to investigating it. And so I think to Earth, it felt like Mars was flying toward Earth, trying to start stuff, and that's why they shot one of our Mars moon or research station. And a lot of it is Aaron Wright trying to make money, basically. I mean, that's about it. JP Mao is trying to make money too, but all this research was, funded by him, and nobody knows at this point. Nobody knows except like Aaron Wright and him, and he was afraid. They both were afraid that Asa Varela might figure it out, which she finally does. She was trying to get Fred Johnson, I think, to expose one of the research station without them saying that it's either Earth or Mars. I forgot, like the actual.
So there were a couple of research stations. There was Phoebe, which I think was an Earth station that Mars destroyed.
Okay.
And then there was Deimos, which is a moon of Mars that Earth destroyed in response. But I think on Phoebe there was more research on the protomolecule that was going on, and Mars destroyed it before Earth got there. But it's a little confusing because the station was an Earth station, but Earth doesn't seem to know what's going on that station. Mars seems to.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's all confusing, and I know that we got one comment from a viewer on our YouTube feed, and I think it was the last Expanse episode that we did, and this commenter said that we got everything wrong. And we don't understand what's going on.
Well,
and then I asked him, I assume it's a him, to just tell us what we got wrong. So not to start an argument, but just to better understand.
Yeah, and I feel really bad.
There was no response.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's internet. I feel really bad because every time you ask something, I feel like it's an answer that's already explained in the show. But when I watch it, I don't care about those details. I'm trying to watch like other stuff. So I feel like there's answers to your questions. We just have to watch or keep watching because some of it is unknown for that specific purpose, so that later on they can reveal that information. But I don't know the difference because I watch so many of it, and now I don't know which information comes out at what point in the show timeline. So I don't know if I'm confused or I just don't remember.
No, and I get that. I'm asking these questions partly to just, in asking the questions, it sort of makes it more clear in my mind.
Yeah.
Not even if you don't give me an answer, it's the asking of the question
Right.
that puts all the information in various locations in my mind
Well,
to
yeah,
make sense.
I think her point was to expose information that was already there that she doesn't want Earth to figure out. Essentially, she doesn't want to go to the main channel saying, "Hey, we need to do this. I need permission to do it." So she want to contact Fred Johnson so she can do it for her, and that's really it. Essentially, it's de-escalating the conflict between Mars and Earth because right now everyone is in the dark, and if he can do it, then the pressure is off. That's not either one's fault. So that's
Right. And that's an example of what I was saying. Like the culture on Earth is so ossified and so following the path of history that it's really hard for even someone who's in control to steer the ship in any other direction than it's already going.
yeah.
So the leaders actually have to become masters of all these back channels
Yeah.
to kind of circumvent all the normal
Yeah.
decision-making processes.
I think that's why I also don't like all the stuff that happens on Earth. Like every time they go to him, like, oh my god, just get it over with. And because they're just bad at it. They're just not good. Like if they were evil and they were smart, I would love it. But
it's not that they're bad at it. It's that the system is so entrenched that it's an entity unto itself.
right.
It's really hard to steer.
Yeah. Yeah. So and all of those. I mean, I'm glad.
And this is a theme that is played out in War and Peace too. That there's all these systems that are just so entrenched and have become entities unto themselves and are moving along through history. And individuals, might feel like they have the power to shape the course a little bit, but they really don't. They're all being swept along through this larger process.
The pawns on the board. So I hate all that. And whenever it comes to that part, I just feels like, just go and do your thing. And which is why I like Mars and the Belt a lot more, because it's very straightforward. They know what they want to do and they do it. And some of it,
the power to do it.
Yeah, some of it, the OPA and the Belters have some of that going on as well, because they have on the other end, they don't have any process and they don't have any structure. And as we go into the next seasons, you see that they align better. Because I have so much of the episodes in my head, I can't remember all of those details. But yeah, good point. I just know that she's very smart and capable, and they kind of show it. So it's not like being told she's smart and capable. They at least show that she navigate back channels, so supposedly using a spy now. And I love that capability of her. We don't see that or at least it's not shown in the other characters, how they go about doing their thing. We see a little bit of Aaron Wright trying to do stuff, but a lot of time he's just frustrated. I'm just like, you suck.
Well, and he's kind of a sleazebag.
Yeah.
Too, Aaron Wright. He's not a character that you want, that you trust or.
Yeah, and that's the other thing.
Like.
That's why I kind of don't like him, because unlike JP Mao, who's out there trying to get rich and funding his own research and doing whatever it takes, including just murdering people on arrows, he don't care. To me, that's easier to appreciate, even though that's just a clearly evil guy or bad guy or whatever. But Aaron Wright just kind of like dancing back and forth and basically a politician. And I'm just like, oh, so exhausting. Someone should just take him out of play. But yeah, I don't know. The show, at least the space stuff that I like at the beginning, season 2, we saw more of the human stuff. We now see all the different reaction, basically, from Earth, Mars, and the Belt to this technology. Everybody's on the same page now, and that to me seems very interesting because everyone's trying to. No one understand it, but everybody wants it, just in case somebody else have it before them. Yeah.
Well, and so also there's some information they keep referring to it as an extrasolar life form that was, I guess, sent from some other star system to the Earth star system. So we don't know what the motivation of that was, but it seems like it was hostile. somehow the protomolecule was sent to our system to take it over, to
Yeah.
infect everyone in it.
Yeah. It has its own programming of some kind, and they got one scientist to that was alive, and so they got some information out of him. So we know that it's a life structure that's not from this. It's not based on anything that's in this solar system. The DNA is completely, not solar bound, so it's operate by different rules, and they still trying to figure it out, and that's why they release on arrows because they need more energy or organic matter or whatever, and that's what
Mhm.
they were measuring, which is
So even if they destroyed it, even if their plan to push it into the sun worked,
mhm,
there's still that threat out there that whoever sent it,
yeah,
might send another one, or
yeah.
I don't know what their follow-up plan is.
On top of that, we know that now I'm blanking on her name. One of the main characters, the female character, she kept a sample. And so we saw, I don't know if you remember, we saw a conversation between her and Miller before he went on the mission to blow up arrows. That he was
Mhm.
saying, this is on me. This is my project, basically. That I need to see it to the end. So I need to go on this landing party. Whereas the sample, that's on you. You need to decide whether to keep it or also send it to the sun, because she was supposed to, but she never did. Uh,
Right, it's on the Roxanate.
uh, like the molecule? No.
Oh, they found it on the Roxanate, but then they stashed it on some asteroid.
Yeah, she
Right?
put on a rocket or torpedo of some kind and hid it from the rest of the team, including only she knows where it is, and she have communication with it, and she hid it in one
Mm.
one of the rock.
Are you sure about that? I thought
hmm
Jim Holden was in on that as well. I thought the whole crew knew what they were
I
doing.
think I'm not sure now because like I said, the all the episode mix up, but
Mhm.
uh, I'm not sure if she confessed yet. So I don't know if that's coming up
No, I thought they
or it
were all
happened.
sitting around a table and came up with the plan to stash it on the asteroid.
But
I
later,
think
yeah, they
the whole crew knows about it.
later on they so I don't know if this is coming up, but they decide to send it to the sun as well, and she's supposed to do it. So
Uh, okay, I haven't seen that
okay,
yet.
I might misremember then. Oops, we're rooting stuff for you.
That's okay.
Gotcha.
Spoiler alert.
So going back to like one other thing I noticed that kind of like made a topic here is that all of the researcher have a procedure where they wave a magnet over your head and you essentially can just lose all empathy. That's one of I was like, that's what? So that to me was kind of amazing technology, and I don't know why they need to do it, but I think for that particular research, maybe that company wants everyone to not feel guilty into what they're
Yeah.
doing. Like,
Well, obviously, they have to, in order to understand the proto-molecule, they decided that they need to purposefully infect people with it. That's what happened on Eros.
yeah,
And so, yeah, it would help for to accomplish that goal if the people in charge did not have empathy for the people who were infected.
yeah.
So that makes sense to me.
I don't know if that's even necessary. I think people can just do that without that technology. But we see the immediate effect, and we see Amos kind of interested because he organically lost some of that sense, and so he found the research a little bit interesting.
What do you mean Amos lost some of that sense?
So because of his background, he kind of like beat up people and not feel guilty about it. He
Yeah.
relies on uh, I forgot her name, but Nagata is her last name, and the rest of the crew to really just guide him as to what is right and what is wrong. We saw essentially when Miller get kicked off the ship for shooting the researcher. He had like some beers or alcohol with Miller or with yeah. Amos was having drinks with Miller, and he said the captain is, as far as I know, is as close to righteousness as it is out here. And so whatever he says is correct, and Nagata agreed. I'm gonna go with them. So you get to get kicked off the ship. It was up to him; he wouldn't care whether the researcher dies or not. But
Yeah, Amos is a soldier, and he does what is, you know,
yeah,
he does what he's commanded to do, basically.
yeah, definitely.
Sort of.
Well, yeah, we and you won't get to see it until later on. You know why he is like that, as far as like his, I guess, mental maturity or mental operation mode. Season 5 kind of go into their background a little bit, but you won't see that until later on. And but what I found was if there is technology for you to remove all of your empathy, like it's irreversible because the doctor was saying like, no, I barely have the equipment to understand, you know, all this, but all the researchers gonna have this thing done on them. Uh, you know, who would or why would you sign up to do that? And would that be even, you know, it seems like this is Earth-based technology. JP Mao prop. I don't know if it's legal or not, but for this researcher team, JP Mao have everyone done it. And so I'm curious, in this universe, you know, when this is possible, uh, this seems to me like a terrible, terrible thing. But maybe in certain applications, you need somebody to not have, you know, all that stuff caught up to them, and they just need to do the work. So to me, that's definitely like a meta topic as far as should it be illegal for you to wipe your empathy and not get it back. I think in later episode of this season, you see Amos having a conversation with that guy because he organically lost some of that capability. But you won't see it until later on. But yeah, so I'm curious your take on that. Like, did that peek out to you at all, or just like another thing in the show? You know?
No, that okay. So you're talking about that. There's one scientist who they did not kill when they landed on that research station.
Yep.
And he had a procedure done where his empathy was removed through the use of magnets, some magnetic procedure. And so all he's interested in is studying the protomolecule, but he has no empathy for the people who are infected by it. Yeah, that was interesting to me. And it's also interesting that there's a whole dynamic at play because obviously Jim Holden, the captain of the Rocinante, is entirely motivated by empathy, right? Or a sense of morality.
Correct. Yeah.
And Amos is somewhat removed from that. I mean, he, as you mentioned, whatever his past was, he had a hard upbringing, and so it made him a little less empathetic. But he has empathy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just compartmentalized.
Yeah.
But then the scientist guy has no empathy at all. So it's an interesting dynamic or setup that they have to explore the idea of empathy itself. I think.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought I saw that and it just jumps out at me. I mean, there's so much technology advancement, and some of that is pretty cool. You know, like radiation sickness. They just put an armband and push a few buttons, and they're not cure but protected. So that's cool. But I don't know. I kind of accept some things, and some things I'm like, whoa, slow down. You need to cover it more because if that technology and or medical process is available, I'm curious if like, you know, there's an agreement on all the solar system. Hey, this is essentially illegal technology. So what JP Mao and his research team is doing is not allowed. But it seems like it's unregulated. From their conversation, it seemed like it's available. No one has any regulation on it yet. It's like so new. So that felt that way to me. I don't know if you thought about it more, but I was just blown away by that.
Yeah, well, again, the whole Earth system, as I said, is you know, it's highly regulated. There's lots of laws, and but the only way to operate within that system is to go through back channels and do things, you know, in the shadows, you know, that are by definition illegal.
Mm.
So it's like most things are probably illegal in that system, but people do it to the extent that they can sort of hide from the system.
Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting stuff. It's coming down. It's I think it's just kind of a climatic like point in the story of all of the show so far. I think the first seasons or so, it's just things kicking off, whereas now you see things kind of conflicting and resolving. And Mars coming to play now, so you can seriously see that technology, and we know that Earth has, like, they keep saying it. They don't show as much, but they keep saying that Earth has a larger um, naval yard or amount of ships. There's older tech, but the numbers are there, so they would win in an all-out battle. But um, Mars definitely have higher technology, and I just thought that with all this coming up, Arrow is now kind of a distraction, because at the end of the episode, it's doing this thing where everybody's freaking out and is flying on its own and completely took away all the other stuff that was building up. Certainly on Earth, there's like generals that saying this is definitely provocation, and somehow Mars involved trying to harm us. But that's not, while that's not true. As an audience, you know that. But I like this distraction, so that it feels larger, like, extrasolar now, instead of just the solar system, and it's bigger than everybody. And I don't like the little stuff bickering because to me it's bickering. But now that it's bigger and it's coming alive, the focus is on this newer, kind of newer Arrow's threat. Like, how and why is it moving on its own, kind of thing. So, yeah.
Well, obviously, it's the proto-molecule has
Mm-hmm.
found a way to control Arrows and move it out of the way,
Yeah.
so that that Mormon ship wasn't able to push it into the sun.
Yeah.
What are the Mormons going to do now?
I have no idea.
Can they turn that ship around and get it back to Tycho?
Yes, I think in later episodes of other season they try to recover it, but basically it's flying really fast, so it's hard to.
Yeah, there's no way to turn it around, I guess. Right?
I think they either have remote control to it somehow, but they managed to put it as a project or as a mission to go get it back. But I think the next, at least season, I don't remember, but I know that was on the list of things to do for the Belters to go get back that ship. Pretty. I think it comes into answer pretty soon, but I know that's
well, because the way most ships in this world slow down is they turn themselves around and then fire their rockets to go in the opposite direction. But that ship is so big, I don't think it can do that.
Right. I think they have remote control to it, because that's how they managed to shoot it at Arrows in the beginning. So as long as there's a certain distance, it's not too far away from everybody else, they can go get it. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's all we have for this episode. It definitely peaks out the story-wise to, like I said, I love this season the most because everything comes into play, and everybody, essentially all the characters meet each other, sort of ways. Not yet, but all the different parties are finally essentially working with each other to deal with this imminent threat that's not from them at all, and I kind of like that better. So, yeah, what do you think about? What do you think about where the story's going so far?
Oh, it's interesting. I mean, there's lots of pieces in play, lots of different conflicting motivations.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting world.
Yeah, I don't
see where it goes.
I by far, I guess within recent stuff, I couldn't find anything else to kind of get that hooked me in. So this is pretty compelling for me for the time being, until there's some other epic shows out there. but I love the space stuff. So cool.
Now, should we talk about how you're no longer interested in doing War and Peace?
Yeah, we can do War and Peace, but we can do a capstone to War and Peace. Essentially, just finish it out. But I'm not gonna go through and um, yeah, I'm not gonna go through like this and just each and every portion of it. That's just it's unbearable to me. So no point. Like over break, I was thinking about it, and it was just, why am I doing this if I don't enjoy it? Like this whole thing is supposed to be fun. So the moment it feels like work, and I try to put up with it, but it's taking too long. So the meta discussion, as to like the impacts and what it means, stuff like that, I have no issue in that. So if we can read the chapters that bring up those topics, then yeah, I would be down to it. But one or two final episodes to talk all those topics out, whereas we just keep going on with the story.
Without actually reading it?
Yeah, you can do that. You can just go to that chapter and read it, and be done with it. Yeah.
But how would you know which chapters bring out those points without reading the book?
You would tell me. And
or
the internet would, because I'm pretty sure I can Google main topics, War and Peace, and I'll probably get all the answers I need.
Another thing, this was an idea I had. I'm not saying I want to do this necessarily, but maybe I could just finish the book and do like solo episodes on it. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Do you want to do post-production too?
No.
Either or, that's fine. I have no problem with that. That's fine. I think that would work. Yeah, that would work.
And then that way, maybe if a subject comes up that we can both talk about, I can bring that to your attention, and then maybe we could discuss that.
Yeah, because this is your third. I figure, well, along with the internet, I'm pretty sure there are numerous discussion on War and Peace already existing out there. We're not the first one to do this.
No, I know, but there's something in me that doesn't like starting a project and then not finishing it.
That, yeah, so I hear that too. That's perfect. I'm definitely with the sunk cost stuff. Like if this is, it's going down that way, I have no problem ending it. So definitely feel free to continue on. And when it comes to whatever the meta topics might be, I can jump on for that episode. Cool stuff.
Okay. Well, I'll think about doing that. I mean, that is quite a bit of effort on my part.
That's a long-term play, so you can plan that out. But this is 27 for our faithful listeners, the 5 of you or 6 of you. Our subscriber numbers on YouTube is jumping up. So over a break, I was about to send out some Christmas card, and I was too lazy and got behind, so I didn't do it. But in my Christmas card, I was going to send a link or write out the link to I guess my Christmas cards list people, so we could have increased followership. So I didn't do that. So we're just gonna.
I'm in favor of that.
We're gonna base it on organic growth at this point, but it's slowly growing. So to our listeners, 28, 29, 30. At 30, we're gonna do a recap. I do have an idea for I don't know, whenever we want to squeeze it in, but it's gonna be about CRISPR. CRISPR is a technology that edits your DNA. And so there's a documentary and the movie Gattaca from the 90s come into play as well. So that was going to be essentially an idea of a show where we can, whatever we want to squeeze it in, we can do as well. But, yep.
Okay, so we have 14 subscribers on YouTube. And it's been at that level for a while.
Yep.
So
cool.
I don't know what that means, but we can, I don't know.
Cool.
Topic for future discussion.
Yeah, topic for episode 30. Awesome. Well, thank you to everyone who's listening, and stay tuned, and please keep listening in. Anything else?
All right.
All right.
No, nothing else on that part.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Hey, this is Thang here with the EpicMetaPodcast team. Thank you so much for listening. Did you listen to the whole episode? Did you enjoy it? Were there things that we missed? Were there topics you would like for us to dive deeper into? And of course, what other topics should we discuss in the future? If you have any of these thoughts or comments, please share with us what you think and how you feel regarding the current episode, and of course, other ideas that you might have for future episode below. As always, thank you so much for listening, and until next time, be good and be well.